Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday night mindfulness and Sutta discussion. Today is our 40th Sutta discussion. It's going to be on a sutta called Siva Sutta. Siva is a deity, and you may know in Hinduism this deva is one of the very famous gods, Shiva. So in this sutta, there is a rare appearance of this deity to the Buddha. So I will put the topic of this sutta this way. By associating with the virtuous, you can expect wisdom, happiness, reborn favorable, and release from suffering, according to the Siva Sutta. It comes under Samyutta Nikaya 2.21. Before I'm going to discuss the sutta, I want to say that one of my very closest friends, his name was Dr. Madanayake, Bandu Madanayake. He's one of my very closest friends and who donated the Buddha statue behind me. He passed away last week, so I want to dedicate this topic to him. So all the good karmas we will be accumulating at the end of this talk. I hope, I wish to share with him the late Dr. Madanayake, who passed away in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. So it's kind of a tribute to him because he's the one who offered this Buddha statue, and he was very instrumental in many ways for my scholarly and non-scholarly life. Thank you. Okay, so what happens is that the god Shiva, he appears in front of the Buddha and then recite few stanzas this way. They're all about the virtuous people like Sappurisas. In other words, we call them Sappurisas or Panditas. So there are, I guess, 6 stanzas the god Shiva recites, and the last stanza, that means the 7th stanza, was given by the Buddha. So he had something interesting. Let me translate the sutta this way. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Then late at night, the glorious god Shiva, lighting up the entire Jeta's Grove, went up to the Buddha, bowed, stood to one side and recited these verses in the Buddha's presence. So this is kind of a background history of the sutta. So what happens is the Deva, the god Shiva, illuminating the whole Jeta Vanarama, or the monastery called Jeta Vanarama, and appeared in the presence of the Buddha. So, okay, these were the stanzas he recited in front of the Buddha. Sabbhi reva samaseta, sabbhi kubbeta santavang, satang saddhamma manyaya, seyo hoti napapyo. The meaning, sabbhi reva samaseta, associate only with the virtuous. Now, you know, sabbhi means the virtuous, which you call pandita or sappurisas. I think in many of the previous sutta discussions we talked about who the wise person is, especially in a couple of our sutta discussions we done in 2018. I think we discussed a sutta called Sevitabba Sutta, Bala Pandita Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. In those suttas we talked about, the wise person is someone who always speaks the good words, who always acts with good actions, who always thinks good thoughts. the opposite is a bala or asatpurisa. In short, I can say, if someone always speaks the bad words, if someone always acts with bad actions, if someone always comes up with bad thoughts, that person is regarded as asatpurisa, as an asatpurisa or bala. So this is the kind of satpurisa we talk about, like all throughout all the suttas. So the first stanza is about, the first stanza, which was recited by this god Siva, is about this satpurisa. All the stanzas he talks about they are all about satpurisas. Sabbhireva samaseta sabbi kubbeta santavang satang saddhamma manyaya seyo hoti napapyo. Associate only with the virtuous. That means associate only with the satpurisas or panditas. Try to get close to the virtuous. Sometimes we have a problem. We never know who they are. But if we closely look at what our friends and others that we know, that we don't know, speak, think, or act, we can sort of kind of understand who they are under this structure of understanding the wise person. So when you know that someone is a satpurisa, someone seems to be a satpurisa, you can get close to that person in a friendly way, not like I want to know you, rather than like trying to be very polite and respectful, but you're trying to get close to that person in a better way. Try to get close to the virtuous or satpurisas. Satang saddhamma manyaya, understanding the true teaching of the good. Seyo hoti napapyo, things get better, not worse. So satang saddhamma manyaya means when you know the teachings of the wise. As I told you, the teachings of the wise are about the 10 kusalas. So when you know them, and when you get to know, and when you're trying to get close to the beings, such beings, then what happens? You are into those teachings, satpurisa teachings, which you call 10 kusalas. As a result of this whole thing, knowing the satpurisas and being with satpurisas, wise people, one of the results, consequences could be your things get better, not worse. Like we all go through different things in our life on a daily basis. So, if we are around, if we hang around with good people, like wise people, if not, at least we try to get close to such beings, our problems, our things get better, not worse. So that's the first stanza that was recited by the god Shiva. Second one, the first 3 lines are same, but the fourth one has a difference in the 6 stanzas given by the god Shiva. Sabbhi reva samaseta sabbhi kubbeta santavang satang saddhamma manyaya panya labbhati nanyato. Now I don't think I need to repeat the first 3 lines, but I will mention to you again. Associate only with the virtuous, which means the satpurisas or panditas. Try to get close to the wise, such wise people. If you are not with such people at the moment, you can approach, you can reach out to them. Understanding the true teaching of the good, like understanding what the teachings of the satpurisas, which you call 10 kusalas, what you can gain is wisdom is gained, but not from anyone else. So usually wisdom, your wisdom will arise when you are with wise people. And this is really interesting, because when you are with balas, like which you call asatpurisas, unwise beings, and your wisdom will not arise anytime, no time in the future or now. So when you are with the satpurisas, the wise beings, that will help you to come up with, that will help you to gain your wisdom that you don't have now. Maybe if you have a wisdom, you can develop that wisdom if you are with such beings. So panya. So the first thing is your things get better, not worse. Second thing is your wisdom is gained, or you maintain your wisdom in the long run, but not from anyone else. The third stanza, as I told you, the first three lines are same, except the fourth one. Sabbhireva samaseta, sabbhi kubbeta santavam, satang saddhamma manyaya, soka majje na sochati. That means associate only with the virtuous, try to get close to the virtuous, understanding the true teaching of the good. And what happened? Soka majje na sochati. You don't lament or sorrow even among those who sorrow. Like in our life, when we spend our life with our beloved people, friends, relatives, we get attached to them in different ways. The hardest part in those relationships and attachments are to deal with the situations when they leave us, when somebody passes away, when somebody goes away from us. How can we understand the grief that arises within us? The God Shiva says, if you are with the beings, with the wise beings, if you are at least trying to get close to wise beings, if you really follow the 10 kusalas that you call a wise being, then what happens? When such things like sorrow, lamentation, happen to us, we know how to deal with such sorrowful situations, grief, and all these things. Today, in today's world, grief management is a very big topic. So I think the clearest example teaching of the Buddha is to stay close to wise beings. If you don't think you are not hanging around with wise beings, then try to get close to them, try to approach them, try to understand who they are, try to find out, explore who they are. That will help you to deal with your sorrowful situations, or where you deal with your grief. The fourth stanza, as I told you, the first three lines are same. Sabbhi reva samaseta, sabbhi kubbeta santavang, satang saddhamma manyaya, jnati majje virochati. Associate only with the virtuous, try to get close to the virtuous, or the sattpurisas, understanding the true teaching of the good, or sattpurisa. You shine among your relatives. We know that relatives are an asset to us, but it's not always the same way to all the beings, but they are an asset, the relatives. If someone wants to shine among the relatives, the key thing is being wise. If you are wise, if you are not wise, try to get close to the wise beings. That will help you to shine among your relatives. So then again, it's wisdom. The fourth stanza. Sabbhi reva samaseta, sabbhi kubbeta santavang, satang saddhamma manyaya, satta gacchanti sugati. Associate only with the virtuous, try to get close to the virtuous, understanding the true teaching of the good. Sentient beings go to a good place. So that means when you are associating, hanging around with wise beings, if you don't have wise beings, when you are trying to get close to them, and then what happens when you understand the true teaching called Sattpurisa teachings, the 10 kusalas, then what happens to you? That will help you to be reborn in a favorable place. As our topic says, by associating with the virtuous called Sattpurisas or Panditas, wise beings, you can expect wisdom, happiness, reborn favorable. So now we are, discussing that point. So that helps any of the beings to be reborn in a favorable, good place. We have 31 places to be reborn when we die. So of course, the good places, except the hells. The last two stanzas. The last stanza, which was recited by the Lord Shiva. Sabhireva samaseta, sabhi kubbeta santavang, satang saddhamma manyaya, satta tittanti, satatanti. Associate only with the virtuous, try to get close to the virtuous, understanding the true teaching of the good. Sentient beings live happily. So the key to the happiness is being with the wise beings, being with the Sattvarisas. Not only being with the Sattvarisas, if you are not with the Sattvarisas, try to get close to Sattvarisas. At the same time, understand why they are Sattvarisas. So there must be some teachings in order for them to be wise. And then you understand what they are, and then what happens? Sentient beings live happily, you are happy. So happy, we know that happiness is a within thing, right? Inside thing. External things help us to be happy, but mostly happiness arises within. So basically, the real happiness, true happiness, comes from the wise beings. When you are wise, when you're with the wise people, when you understand what makes you to be a wise person with the 10 kusalas, that helps you to stay happy in the long run. So now this is what the goat Shiva said to the Buddha. So there are 6 stanzas. He said, things get better, not worse. Wisdom is gained, but not from anyone else. You don't sorrow even among those who sorrow. You shine among your relatives. Sentient beings go to a good place. Sentient beings live happy. So these were the thoughts, insights of the goat Shiva when the goat Shiva thought about the wise beings. At the same time, someone who is trying to get close to wise beings, someone who at the same time being with the wise beings, trying to get close to wise beings, at the same time becoming wise beings, and then to maintain, follow the 10 kusalas. And the Buddha adds another stanza, in addition to this. The Buddha approves, but he has something bigger than these 6 points. Then the Buddha replied to goat Shiva in verse, let me recite. Sabbhireva samaseta, sabbi kubbeta santavan, satang saddhamma manyaya, sabba dukkha pamucchate. Associate only with the virtuous, try to get close to the virtuous, understanding the true teaching of the good, you are released from all suffering. Now, this is very innovative. Now, the Buddha's main teaching in the Dhamma is telling people how to release from suffering, dukkha. And Buddha says the path to release us from suffering depends on whether we are into the wise beings, panditas or sattvarisas, or whether we are into balas or asattvarisas. That's why in this basic, very famous, popularized sutta called Mangala Sutta, Buddha says, asevanacha balanang panditanacha sevana. So the first 2 auspicious factors are associating, not associating with the unwise or balas, and associating with the panditas or sattvarisas, the Buddha said. So that means the main thing in our path to release our suffering or liberate us from suffering is trying to be with the wise beings. Or if you are not into that, at least try to get close to wise beings, at the same time trying to understand what the wise teachings are. That means basically 10 kusalas. So now this sutta, to my understanding, is very important in 2 ways. The first thing is there's a rare appearance of the goat Shiva with the Buddha, because we know goat Shiva is such a very prominent deva in Hinduism. In Hinduism, is very epitomized in different, reflected in different forms. He's such a very influential deity, and he appears in front of the Buddha in this sutta. At the same time, this sutta talks about the wisdom in a way that really matters to all of us in our path to Nibbāna. Now, we might sometimes think, okay, we go to listen to a Dhamma talk, we just listen to it, and then when we go home, we just be with the people we like. But this sutta says we need to really be with the wise beings, Sappurisas, which you call Panditas or Sappurisas, because that is the entry point and the consisting factor for all of us to lead us to Nibbāna or awakening. So if we are not with the Sappurisas, that might not give us a very comfortable, easy kind of a life. So we might be stuck. We might get stuck in our path. So then that means try to hang around with the wise beings. The wise beings are who speak the good words all the time, who acts with the good actions all the time, who thinks good thoughts all the time. So what are the good thoughts? What are the good words? What are the good actions? I will explain to you. The good thoughts are threefold: not being envious, not having any thoughts in destroying other beings, and not having miccāditi. So these are the three good thoughts. The four good words are not lying, not talking behind the back, not talking hurtful words, and not becoming a gossiper or an idle chatter. The good actions are not killing, not stealing, not misbehaving. You know what they are. So those are the Sappurisa Dhammas. We all have to do those things if you really want to attain Nibbāna, if you really want to release suffering from us. So the opposite is Asappurisa Dhamma. That means teachings for the unwise. I mean, I would call unwise teachings. So the wise teachings are those good side of the 10, which you call kusalas. So let's try to more focus on our 10 kusalas. If you are already on to kusalas, try to maintain, try to consistently approach, consistently practice, so that it will really help you to stay focused and then release your suffering. So once again, the topic itself says, by associating with the virtuous, you can expect wisdom, happiness, reborn favorable, and release from suffering, according to the Siva Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 2.21. Okay, so I hope that you understood the sutta. At the same time, made a resolution in applying the factors in the sutta into your normal life. Okay, so now we have come to a point to share all the good karmas. As I told you at the beginning, I want to dedicate this whole talk to late Dr. Madanayake from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. He was one of the very good friends of mine, and he's the one who donated this Buddha statue to me when I left Vancouver to Victoria, BC for a fellowship. So I want to dedicate all the good karmas that we've been accumulating in all these ways to him, because he passed away last week, just at the time when I was doing this talk, Monday talk. And I want to share all the good karmas with him. So may all the good karmas be shared by Dr. Madanayake, who passed away from Vancouver, British Columbia, and all the other relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Also, let's share all the good karmas with the deities who protect all of us and the universe. May all the deities share in all these good karmas. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatha ca bummatha devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu lokasasanang. Akasatha ca bummatha devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasatha ca bummatha devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating in all these ways help all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbāna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana siddhis niccang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukham balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato Nibbāna sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.